Inspiration sparks and raises our vibration, encouraging all of us to live our best lives. It is now my pleasure to welcome our speaker for this evening, the Reverend Lelia Cutler. Reverend Cutler teaches classes in meditation, mediumship, and a series of classes on comparative religion, classes on healing, symbolism, spiritual regression, and biblical spiritualism. She also leads workshops in public speaking and platform decorum. Welcome, Reverend Lelia.
Good evening. What a lovely time to be here. As most of you who may know me or anything about me, you know that natural law is something that I treasure. And I ask now, as I work with Spirit, to bring you some, let me get this thing out of the way here. There we go. Okay. And as I work to bring you some inspirational words that may help or whatever, okay, I feel that we need to understand some of the very basics. And in the principles or laws of the universe, we find that the first one that's listed is all is God, all is mind, the entire universe is mental. And we know that because we're in touch with those from the spirit side of life. And it's a mental connection that we have with our God. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about having God with me, I always grab my solar plexus. I don't know why, but it just feels more comfortable, okay? And I feel that as we think about the fact that all is mental and that we are a part of a vast universe of mental mentality that spreads around our earth and out into the universe. It isn't something that's just, right here in front of my face. No, It's something that we realize that is vast and spreads beyond our comprehension at times. But I want to share with you a selection from Ralph Marston called What Begins in Your Mind, because this is my focus. I feel like that what begins in your mind ends up in your life. Think continually of the way you most would like to be, and your reality will reliably fall in line. Now, a lot of us have trouble with that, but I think if we work on it, we might get it right. Okay. So our thoughts do not end when we finish thinking them. Whoops. We carry them forward with us, don't we? Okay. They continue to echo through our life in ways that we may not even realize. When you wake up in the morning and you've got Spirit talking to you and advising you on what you're going to be doing that day and what you're going to be feeling and expressing, then you know that it's something that is universal. And Spirit works with most people that way. Very few people have I met in my lifetime that could say that they did not feel that awakening. And it's something that's rather universally accepted. But let's think about that for a minute. So we fill our mind with thoughts of gratitude for the abundance we already enjoy. That abundance will most certainly grow as a result. So if we fill our minds with gratitude for what we have and what we're attracting to us, then I think it's going to expand. It's going to help us in some way to expand our energy with God and feeling the God energy within ourselves. When you feel doubt or fear or anger or frustration, know that you can let it go just as surely as you can pull your hand away from a painful sensation. Keep your life focused on the goodness on the positive possibilities, and on your most treasured dreams. When we think about that, most of us at some point in time awaken with a feeling of doubt or something that we were expecting to happen in our lives, and it hasn't happened yet. And I don't know about you, but I've had that experience. And so if I'm waiting for these things to happen, then I'm working with spirit, but I'm letting spirit work with me. And so when we feel that doubt or a fear that something's not going to happen, and most of you who know me know I've had some challenges in my life. Uh, I lost my brother when I was only 9 years old. I lost my father when I was 12 years old. And I lost my mother when she was 79. So I had her for a while, okay? But most of the men in my life have passed to the spirit side of life. And the one man that I loved more than others, he passed to spirit in 2008. And it's like we know that that energy that has passed to spirit, the men in my life, okay, they come in and they assist us from the spirit side of life. They kind of give us a push in the direction we should go. Because I don't know about you, I live alone. And sometimes when I'm sitting there and just watching television and all of a sudden I drift off, and then I feel spirit coming in and kind of pushing me in a new direction. I think, what am I supposed to do with that? But then the thoughts, they arise in your head and you say, oh, okay, that's what I'll do. And so when we think of frustration in our lives, now this past week, I've had probably one of the most frustrating weeks I've had in a long time. And that's because my air conditioner decided to quit. And and naturally, we had the hottest days we've had all year long in the past week. It's been 104 degrees outside, and I have no air conditioning. And I'm sitting under a fan, and I sleep with my ceiling fan on, and all the ceiling fans in the house are on, and all the fans are on. And it's like, I'm calling and saying, can you fix this? Can you? But I found a new friend because of this. The person that I bought my air conditioner from has gone out of business. He's not there anymore. And so I talked to my friend, and she introduced me to a new person that works with it. And he came and he got my air conditioner running, and he didn't have to do a whole lot. And I thought, isn't that wonderful? I'm so glad to know him. And he wouldn't charge me a dime. I don't know what he and Terry talked about before he came out here, but I am thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God, for what has occurred. So it's like when things like that happen, we know that Spirit is working with us and they're kind of pushing us in the right direction, and we're feeling it, aren't we? Yes. So any doubt or fear that I had that I was going to croak because I didn't have any air, they just disappeared. Okay. And so they were no longer part of life. And so I just let them go, just as we pull our hand away from something that has hit us, then whoops, my Zoom went off, didn't it? Let me see here. Oh my goodness. Get back into this. It's taken me a minute to get back in. Okay. I have
We
to
see you, Lelia.
Huh?
We see you, Lelia.
Do you really?
Uh-huh.
There we go. I'm back. I'm glad you could see me because I couldn't. All right. Oh, computers are one of the most biggest challenges in my life, in case y'all don't know that. Okay. But it's one of those things that we feel Spirit working with us regardless. And it's just, we can pull our hand away and say, you know, I know you're there. I know you're there helping me. And I see them. Okay. So it's life focused on the possibilities that Spirit can do for us. And then your worries create their own fulfillment, but you don't have to worry about that because you can let those worries go. Your fears can bring you closer toward whatever you fear, but do not fear such a scenario because you have the ability to let those fears go. Now, I don't know how this kind of comes across to you, but the fact that that second law that I read, the law of correspondence, is as above, so below. I often quote that. You know, I'm working with people and I say, you know, as above, so below. So therefore, if we can rise up in spirit to an upper level, then we can realize that they can be with us no matter where we are. So it's as above, so below. And it's all mixing together, isn't it? But as you think, so you are. That is the one thing that I wanted to focus on today. As we think, our mind creates our world. And as we think, whether we're happy, whether we're glad, whether we're sorrowful, whatever, that's how we are at that point in time. So it's as within, so it is without. And so I was focusing on the fact that as you think, so you are. And we get the weirdest thoughts sometimes, don't we? You know, it's like they come in, they tell us some big secret for us, you know, and they let us know that we are working with an energy that is there for us at any time we ask for it. As you think, okay, and I think that I am with the spiritual energies more often than not, you know, and so I kind of look to that to guide me at times. And so I feel very at one with that idea because what I'm thinking is what I'm manifesting. Oh gosh. And if you find yourself thinking along a path that leads you away from your comfort level, then by golly, sit down and take a little healing breath. You know, that deep breath you take and you let out. I let mine out to a count of 6 every time. And it's like I can hold it and then let it out to that count of 6. And then I'm relaxing. I'm allowing myself to be a part of my universe that I have created. And that universe includes, you know, now that I stay home more than I used to be in my church like 3 or 4 times a week, but I don't do that now. It's almost as though being at home, being alone has helped me to grow more in tune with the spirit life that I adore, because I truly do. I truly adore the energies that come into me from the spirit side of life, whether it's when I'm waking up in the morning or whether it's when I'm just sitting in my chair. When I'm reading a book, I do love to read books. I'm a bookaholic. And it's like, I look at some of, I have a secretary that had whole bunches of matched books in there, and I have read them all. And I go over there and I look at it and think, which one are you going to start on now? You know, and it's like allowing yourself to learn, okay, from what people have shared from their lives on written paper. And that is something that I treasure. I really do. Now, I have to admit that I had 3 full bookcases now 6 feet bookcase is full of books on spirituality. And I gave those to the church in Wisconsin, who was just starting up, and sent them there. And I feel like that, I've allowed other people to grow from the written word, not just me. And so I feel like that's something that's kind of precious, is have the connection with people who also study the same things that we do. Because I know that SCoA also does as well. And the fact that I was a very active member with the Marston Institute just adds to that. That just gave me another dimension. Okay. And so it gives you another dimension of thinking, another dimension of acting, and looking at someone and seeing the spirits that are around them. That's fascinating to me. But have you noticed? I don't know, I've noticed there seems to be a lot more TV programs, including Ghost, lately. There's a program just called Ghost, and they're showing them. And while this is not the way we feel the reality of spirit around us, it's something that gives us cause to think about, something that gives us a reason to say, well, I wonder if that could really happen. Is that something that I'm missing? And it's like there's an advertisement that comes on, and they're standing there talking, and then this ghost behind them starts saying, I only paid $13 for this fireplace. And it's like, to me, it's hilarious. I mean, I just laugh, and I have a good time watching it. And it's like, I know that's not how they manifest. And I know that they manifest through our mentality. And yes, we may see energies in a room, and I feel them. I don't know about you, but I feel them in a room. And it's like, that's the way we want to interact with those from the spirit side of life. But it's so important that we think of the fact that as we think, and as we picture, and as we allow these things to be a part of our lives, then that's who we are. That's who we have come to be. And so it's as we are within and feeling, and I feel my brother every once in a while. You got to realize he's been gone over 60 years, and as you feel a spirit coming in around you, it's something that gives you joy. It gives you upliftment. It gives you something to really be thankful for in life, is that we have this interaction with spirituality, with being a part of the spiritual world. And that's what we are, and that's what we will be when we get out of this clay frame that I'm in. Oh my goodness. I ask sometimes, and what's going to feel like when I get out, And so we feel like that it's a wonderful opportunity to feel spirit around us. And as we think positively in our world, and we allow ourselves to be positive in our world, because as we think, so we are. That's one of the things that we remember as we study, as we learn, as we share, and as we become a true mentor and teacher to the rest of the world, is yes, I'm feeling it, and I'm hoping you're feeling it too. So bless you. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.